RedRiotGames YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be looking at the Ultra Prism 2 Darkness Ablaze format. I've only started testing with this relatively recently, so a lot of these for me are like sort of my first opinions on the decks. Today I have brought on with me to help out Lubui. Is that how you say it?
Lee Bui.
Lee Bui, okay. So could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Lee. I've been playing for about 3 years. This is actually my second year playing competitively, and I am a player for Team Gas. And yeah.
So how did you sort of get into the game?
Actually, I started to learn to play in about 2013. I just played casually with friends. And then I stopped playing, focused on like high school extracurricular activities. And then the summer before college, I decided to pick it up again just so I can have like a cool hobby. And I mainly used like the first year playing to play in cups and see like if it's something I want to continue with. My second year was when I actually started to play at regionals, and it ended up working out pretty well. So I stuck with it, and here we are.
Yeah, that's awesome. So who do you sort of like? What area are you from? Like, did you just sort of like hop right into
Yeah.
it and like was like just like the community got you into it?
Yeah. So like at first, obviously my friends got me into it because we played with old cards back in, so they just taught me the basics of the game. And then when I started playing like more competitively, I met some friends at my local league in Tacoma and Seattle, and they really helped me, get it going. So
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna cut here. So let's get right into it then. Let's start with a few of these decks. We'll talk about the better ones, and then we don't really any ones that we think are just like garbage. We probably don't need to talk about.
right.
So let's start with good old faithful Arceus Dialga wins with Zacian. So I don't know how much it changes with Darkness Ablaze, but it's obviously still good.
I think it definitely. Yeah, I haven't actually tested, but I definitely expect it to be a top tier deck because of Turbo Patch.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the stupidest cards I've ever.
I've heard so many people like trashing on Turbo Patch in ADP Zacian. But I think
probably one of the stupidest cards I ever tested.
I think it is good. Like it makes that turn one altered creation so much faster, which I feel like I will say I do think it's trying to aim for that turn one altered creation is a little bit more important with the new set, because there's like things like Vic Volt that'll item lock you out of it if you miss the first turn, and then Eternatus swinging at you really quickly.
Yeah. So I definitely expect most of the Zacian decks to be tier 1 just because of Turbo Patch and how good it is with Metal Saucer.
Yeah, I think I completely agree. I'd say tier 1. I think Zacian like it still can definitely compete with all of the new decks. I think Baby Blounds, because of Vic Volt, is like a little bit less on the radar right now, which is certainly a big plus for ADBZ.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's go with a curveball then. How about the Salamence VMAX? So
Salamence, I actually haven't looked too much into that card, so I would probably put it in one of the middle tiers. I don't expect it to be that great. I don't expect it to be bad either.
Let me pull up quickly a scan of it, because I know it does. It's like for 5 colorless, it does a very large amount of damage. But so it's looking for 4 colorless. It does like 240, and I think it does like bench damage too. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. So I feel like it's one of those decks where like maybe it's okay, but it's like when you compare it to some of the other VMAXs that we're getting around the same time, like Eternatus and Centiskorch, it's just like less consistent,
right.
Not as competitively viable in general, and just doesn't do as much.
I don't expect it to be tier 1, but I do expect some players to play around with it, maybe make it somewhat relevant.
Yeah, I could see that. People do like to play like, of course, like this format's pretty much just going to be for the Pog Championships. And for like very big events like that, I find a lot of players do kind of like to play rogue decks a little bit more to give them sort of like an edge, and like people aren't expecting it. So I'd probably put it above. Maybe I'll put it in tier
Yeah,
3 for now.
we'll give it tier 3. Yeah.
Yeah, let's be generous to Salamence. Now we'll reevaluate that when we start moving other things into tier 3. See how it holds up.
Yeah.
Um, we'll knock Gardevoir VMAX out of the way. I think this card is just like atrocious.
Let's put that out of the way. Probably in the rogue category.
Don't even need to. Just we'll throw it in rogue. Pikarom. Now, Pikarom's an interesting one because Pikarom always feels like it's getting like zoned out of the format every single time a new set comes out, and then it just like it always puts up the results anyways.
I do expect it to be tier 1 or tier S just because of Crobat V, so you have extra draw.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can.
I think Pika would definitely be a really good card just because of Crobat V and the extra draw power that it gives.
Yeah, that does make sense. It's just like, especially with like Vikavolt having so much hype, it's like it's like
for sure.
one of the few decks that can like actually get set up in one turn and without having like if with like something like ADP, it's like if you don't set up on the first turn and you don't get your saucers off, it's like, oh, now I'm item locked and I can't use them anymore. Pikarom, you're pretty much always going to get that turn 1 setup.
Yeah, so I'll probably put it in tier S. I'll be generous and give it the tier S category.
Yeah, I'll put it in tier S for now. I think that's fair. I think it's definitely very strong. We'll do, let's see, I'll do Centiskorch, and then I think Cinderace sort of is like very similar to Centiskorch in the sense that like you're not gonna either one's better, and then the other one you just win it all because the other one's better.
Yeah, so I do expect Centiskorch to be the better deck out of those two. I don't know. Looking at the card, is not super. Well, I guess it has a large damage output.
Yeah,
but it's not super impressive. So I'll probably put it in tier 2, maybe. I do expect it to be played somewhat.
I agree with that. I know, like, a lot of people seem to be hyping it as like a Vikavolt counter because I think it self accelerates with its attack.
Yeah, I do like the self acceleration it gets from the discard, and like you have welders to accelerate too. But
at the same time, I just think it's still a little bit slow, a little bit. Welder.
Yeah.
Well, like the Firebox sort of decks that are of like always had a bit of like, oh, I might just miss my welder, and then what do I do? And then you're adding a stage 1 into that basically, so it's like,
yeah,
it's never gonna. I don't think it's ever gonna be like S tier, high tier 1, like just. And then I think at that point, if I would definitely agree that Cinderace is worse, and at which point it's like, even if Cinderace like could compete with the likes of like other tier 3 decks, it's like, why would you ever play it over Centiskorch? So
yeah, so I would put in Rogue just because of Centiskorch. If you're gonna play one or the other, you might as well play Centiskorch. Just better.
And then we'll do one more deck, and then we'll go into. I have another question loaded up for you. So just keeping in theme with those two, we have just like generic like big basics Firebox. We got like the Heatran, possibly Cramorant, Pertinator.
Regular Firebox.
Yeah, is this an archetype that could still be viable? We haven't really seen it a lot in Ultra Prism to Rebel Clash.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to mention. We haven't seen like any players play it, or the tournaments I played in. I haven't seen any players play Firebox. So
I will say, I know that Andrew Mahone posted a post-rotation list with 4 turbo packs.
Oh, yes.
Now, I wonder if you could do something similar with that pre-rotation. Just go ahead and throw 4 turbo patch in Firebox.
Right, yeah. I mean, just the addition of Turbo Patch as a trainer in general helps a lot of different decks, and I do expect Firebox to be one of those decks that could really benefit from it.
Yeah, and like with VMAXs, it's like you capped at like 600, or not 600, 300 damage with Heatran turn 2 with like the 2 welders, 2 attachments, and now like Turbo Patch, you can actually get above that to like actually one-shot VMAXs.
Yeah, the thing with Turtle Patch is you can't attach to GXs, and I think most of the main attackers in Firebox are GXs, so
Yeah,
that
but
could be
the
a little
Heatran
weird.
gets to move
But
them.
I do.
So if you're doing a big
Yeah,
attack
that's
with
a good point.
Heatran, you can put them anywhere.
Right.
I'd
I'll
say
probably stick it in tier 2. To be
I
fair to it,
I'd say tier 3. I think it's a bit worse than
tier 3.
Scorch. Because I think it still like struggles against ADP Zacian, which is like I think like obviously you like have weakness against Zacian, but like you struggle in the sense that like you just don't keep up with like the consistency that they have when they just like go Altered Creation and then take 2 knockouts on 2 of your big Pokemon, like your 2 prize Pokemon, like super easily.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Whereas like Scorch has seen a bit more hype because it's like bulky and it can take the hits. Okay,
Also,
so
being a fire type, it can yeah. Just want to point that out.
yeah,
Since it's a fire type, you might have to run more frying pans now to deal with that.
yeah, definitely. Um, so segueing in, I know you like your fire types. What are some of your favorite decks of all time?
Of all time.
Yeah.
Well,
Stuff that
first,
you've played presumably, but yeah.
yeah. So first off, I have to start with the 2 decks that brought me the most success so far. The Zora Exodia deck that I used to get top 4 at Anaheim 2018,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
most recently the Night deck that I top 16 whip at Portland this year before the season.
Oh
Blew up.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to like super aggressive decks. So like Zora Exodia, Night March were all about getting out the super fast first turn and then just taking over the game from there. But some of my other favorite decks are like Greninja and Drampagard, just because slow and methodical, and they have amazing comeback potential.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's ability lock
There's
decks known for that.
you play the game better than doing the 6-1 comeback from time to time. So
Yeah, that's when you do make a 6-1 comeback with those ability lock decks, it is like one of the best feelings.
I guess I would have to throw Archie's Blastoise in there as well for being one of the most aggressive decks that I like. But yeah, I would say those would round out some of my favorite decks of all time.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but then again, I've only been playing for about 3 years, so like
Yeah,
all time decks, those are my most recent favorite decks, I
yeah, for
suppose.
sure. Adding on to aggressive decks you played the couple years before. I know you've started playing a lot of the old format tournaments on stats, so you've probably
I
been
have.
introduced to a couple of the older format decks. Um, which one of those is like your favorite? Do you have a favorite of the like old format decks that you've played that you like never got a chance to actually play in tournament?
Yeah, for old format decks, I guess. We played in 2013 Worlds format, and I really like playing Darkrai. So that was kind of fun.
Was
I
that
never played Darkrai, obviously.
was that with like pre-catcher errata? Like when Pokemon
No,
catcher
that
was
was
just auto, or was that with
this,
Swift?
this was when catcher was auto. Yeah, so we had to use
Yeah,
Repel
yeah,
to play the format, but it was really fun because I never got to play it in 2013. So it was
yeah,
nice
for
to be
sure.
able to play it.
That's a really fun format. I think people look back on like and they're like, wow, catcher was broken, but
Yeah, catcher was actually insane. Like I never played the catcher
yeah,
format, but I could see why
and it's
that is
like
so
it
fast.
was broken, but it was also like it was still like really skill intensive and really fun, especially in deck like Darkrai where you had like the Sableye and you had to like you managed your Pokemon catchers, and then you like had plays that you could make where you take a turn just to grab back double Pokemon catcher just to like improve your like deck thinning. I think like if you go
Yeah,
back and watch that format, it's like the commentators are always talking about all they're ever talking about is like how well you thin your deck because like so many games come down to just like really low hand size ends.
yes. Yeah, definitely. I definitely love having N in the format, which is something I wish we had now because it provides so much comeback potential. I guess we have reset stamp now, but there's just something about N where
Yeah,
you just
for
end
sure.
yourself low, your opponent low, and just pulling off the game from there. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's like a reset on like whatever hand advantage either player has been building.
Yeah.
Um, and okay, we'll start with deck that you have been playing a lot recently. Um, to segue from there, we got Baby Blounds. Where do we think
Oh
this
yes, God. Yeah. The problem with Baby Blounds is obviously Vikavolt V with its
Yeah,
item lock. But I still consider it. Well, I may be biased, but I still consider it one of the top decks in the format. So I would keep it at tier 1 maybe.
you know what?
I consider it tier S now.
I
Yeah.
100% agree that it should be in tier 1. I think I actually just played a tournament with Baby Blounds today, and I played in the Hexer TCG event. And I
Yeah.
played Baby Blounds, and like it is probably tier S right now. It's like so good, and my biggest
Definitely
regret at
tier
the
S.
start of the format was like Dragapult, and
Right.
it's like it's not even very winnable matchup, and it's gone when Starkness Ablaze comes out basically. Um,
Yeah.
so I think Baby Blounds sort of like it's like yeah the big if you're thinking about playing Baby Blounds and you tell someone you're gonna play Baby Blounds for like this event, the first thing people are gonna tell you is like, oh well, like Vikavolt. But
Right.
it's like when to me I feel like especially in day one, like there's gonna be like I don't like Vikavolt probably gonna be the second most popular deck, only to Eternatus. But it's like
Yeah.
you beat so many other of the top tier decks, like just
You beat
like easily.
this.
Yeah, it's like it's you need
And like I said before, I expect Zacian decks to be extremely popular. So Baby Blounds are usually pretty good against Zacian decks as well.
yeah, and because everyone thinks Baby Blonde is dead, it's a matter of like, unless it like makes a resurgence when everyone's talking about the format and has been tested more. But like right now, it's like it is like sort of under the radar, because everyone's like everyone just wants to make sure they test Vic Volt and Eternatus against everything. Um, and it is like if it stays under the radar, people aren't playing like more people might cut Frying Pan. People aren't going to be playing Tapu Fini at all. It's like all of the things that people play just like even to give them a slight edge against Baby Blounds, like a slight bump, even like Chaotic Swells. It's like they'll all they're all gone.
Right. When Baby Blounds draws well, it really well, and you can
Yeah.
usually get past those so-called numbers that people put in their decks.
The other thing too is people are cutting stamps. I've seen a lot of people are cutting a lot of stamps because against Vikavolt, it's a dead card. So people are
Oh, right,
opting
right.
for heavier Marnie lines and less stamp. And so that is like huge for Baby Blounds. Like of course Marnie's never good for Baby Blounds, but it's like it's not a reset stamp.
Right, right.
Um, So yeah, I think Baby Blounds is definitely tier 1. It's definitely like it's one of those decks where it's like okay, you go into the day and you're like I'm gonna try not to hit too many Vikavolt, and if I don't, then I'll be good.
Yeah. I still expect Baby Blounds to be one of the top decks, even with Vikavolt around. So
Yeah.
one
Um,
sounds like a great spot for it.
okay, let's knock out these two at the same time: Obstagoon and Decidueye. I think Obstagoon's probably like dead because Eternatus exists.
VMAX in the format. I wouldn't say it's dead. I mean, I played
Yeah,
Obscure in Masters and got top 4, so it's good when no one's expecting it, but
and it is one of
I'll
those things
probably
where
put
it's like even against VMAXs, it has the Evital GX and has the Sableye, so it's like you can just knock out two VMAXs and win that way.
yes.
But it's definitely like, especially with people like having the option of Decidueye, it's definitely like going. I'd say it's I'd say it's fair to put it in Rogue.
Yeah, let's put it in Rogue for now.
And then Decidueye is like definitely like a lot better. Like it beats a lot of these.
So,
A lot.
tier 2, maybe? Probably tier 2, I would say,
Yeah, I'd
for
agree.
now,
And it's like
until
it's people like Obstagoon. It's like there's a lot of top decks right now, like Set a Scorch, and Eternatus that just naturally have outs to it. But like for Decidueye, Baby Blounds is really the only top deck that has natural outs to it. Everything else just has to tech for it if they have to respect it if they want to beat it. I don't think it'll ever be a like.
yeah.
I think it would only be a good like day one play.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be like a meta deck, but I think it would be a sneaky play if people aren't expecting it and you just run
Yeah,
them over.
I think okay. So this is Mad Party. I think Mad Party is just new Lost March. I don't think it's Night March.
Ready?
I think it's just Lost March.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think the concept is cool, but I don't expect it to be really good.
yeah. If it gets more
It seems
support,
like
it could like eventually be good. But like right now, it's just Lost March.
Yeah, I do think it sounds like a fun deck, but I don't think it'll be a good deck.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Charizard VMAX, it does like 300 for 5 energy, I think.
You discard, right?
Yeah, it's like you use it like it's like 2 fire, 3 colorless. You use a triple and you just like discard that or something. But
Right, yeah.
it's
The discard part of it is kind of what's scaring me away from
yeah,
it. So I'll probably put in Rogue. Maybe.
yeah. It discards, whereas Scorch just gets more energy when it attacks. So it's like just play Scorch.
I just think Send Scorch is the best fire deck that's going to come out of the set. So
Yeah,
all the other fire decks kind of seem. If you're going to play fire deck, might as well play Send Scorch.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Now this is like check. This is checkmate, and I feel like this could like be decent again, but it's like it's not. I think it loses to Vikavolt and Baby Blounds. Just like, and it's like
yeah, I don't know how I beat.
and ADP.
Oh god.
Yeah, it gets
I'll
bodied by
probably put in
ADP
tier
for sure.
3.
Just get rid of that.
I'll put in
It's like it's good against VMAXs, but
tier
like
3.
everything.
Yeah,
You
like
tier
maybe
3.
I could see you. I would say tier 3. Maybe give it the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
It does have
because it does beat VMAXs.
unique. Yeah, it does have unique potential to be VMAX. That's the only thing that's
Yeah.
putting it.
It's just that like all the non VMAX decks that are still good, just like slap it around so much because it's so reliant on that like one strategy.
Yeah.
And then we'll do one more. We'll do Rhyperior V. So in Japan, I know people are playing this like Welder and Ninetales V. And it basically just it one shots Grom and one shots Vikavolt and one shots Eternatus for 3 energy. For like a fighting and 2 colorless.
Yeah. Maybe put that in tier 2.
I think
I'm not sure how good it is.
It feels like
it's good counter. I'm not sure how good it actually is, but I would say tier 2 for now.
It kind of feels like what's it called? That like when people were talking about Fossil Box around this like time in the format last season, like Fossil Box for Worlds, and like oh well, like I hit for weakness against all the top decks, so it's like I'm good, right? But it's like no, you're still a bad deck at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like people playing Excadrill now to
yeah, 100%.
It's like that kind of deck where like if you hit the right counters, then you just run them over. But it's not like a good deck that can beat everything.
Yeah, it's like if you only hit the decks that you tested to beat, then you'll make it. But it's where like decks like ADP and ADP and Peak ROM, they do so well because they're so good against just everything. They're just such good decks in general. So let me just see. Okay, so what to you is like what's your biggest accomplishment in the game just like strictly results wise, and then like what are the accomplishment that you're most proud of, if they're not the same.
Yeah. So for results accomplishments, I would have to go back to my top 4 at Anaheim 2018, and then my top 16 at Portland this year. Also, I'd say my top 32 at the Limitless Qualifier 3. So those are probably like my 3 biggest accomplishments, like in terms of results. But the accomplishments I'm most proud of was creating the Zoric Zodia deck with my friends. They're actually the friends that I first met when I first got into the game. So it was really nice to be able to take or create this concept with them and then just take it to regionals and do really well with it. So that's something I'm really proud of. Also, most recently being part of Team Gas, like we made a lot of different decks that took the tournaments by storm this year. For example, we made the Rocky Chomp list that won Dallas, the Cramorant Mew Box list that top 16 Collinsville, and the Tomb Count that got second Luke Morsa at the Limitless Invitational. So I was really proud to be part of the team that built so many of these creative decks that we used to do really well at tournaments. So
yeah, I think I don't know if this applies to like the majority of players, but like I feel like for me too, it's like when I think about my accomplishments, I'm not usually thinking about results. I'm thinking about like the cool decks that I have created.
Yeah, definitely. There's just something satisfying about make a new concept and then do really well with it.
Yeah, like
and no one's expecting it.
Like it's and then when you like see someone else playing it, and that's something that you like your brainchild. Some like other people are like, yeah, this is good. You did good. It's like it's validating.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, so in that vein, let's bring up some weird decks that I think could be good. We'll start with Spiritomb since you guys invented the like straight Spiritomb build. There's of course the like ADP Spiritomb as well, which like could still be decent. Do you think either of them has like viability in this format?
In this format, I
Well,
would
like
say,
with Darkness Ablaze.
yeah. Well, I'm kind of biased again since we created the Tomb Count
Yeah.
list, but I'd probably say I'm not sure what it does in the Darkness Ablaze format, so I'll probably put it in tier 2 for now until like we start testing it more, just to be fair to all the other decks that are out there.
Yeah. Do you like okay? So do you think it's better to play it without the ADP still?
I do think it's better, like the non-ADP version is better because you don't have to rely on ADP to get off the alt creation. Like that's why we thought of the Doom Count idea. So you can Doom Count your opponent's biggest threat and be able to attack with Spiritomb afterwards. Also, not having a 3 prize in your deck helps a lot, especially when your Spiritombs are prize attackers, and they're usually easily knocked out because they only have 60 HP, obviously, and you're damaging yourself. So
especially
it's just nice not to have a 3 prize. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think it could. I think it could still be tier 2. I think it's like, or it's one of those decks where it's like you can. It has because it's like all like basically all Rainbow and Aurora energy. You can like try so many different attackers in it to improve your matchups. It's like the Buzzwolf for Pikarom.
Yeah, I also
like Neo Lego.
It's a deck. Yeah, I would say it's a deck that rewards you for good play. I would say it's like one of the high skill cap decks there is out there. I'm putting in tier 2 for now, but like once we start testing more, it might go up.
Yeah, for sure. So another dark deck, one that's probably not quite as good, Sableye V. I know, like I've seen Omnipoke testing this post rotation. But pre-rotation, it still gains sort of the same key card, and that's like the Turbo Patch. So it's like if you whatever combo you want to play with like Flapple or something like that. It's like the idea is that it doesn't have to come down the same like a turn early anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not sure how good it is, so yeah, I'll put it in tier 3 or Rogue probably. Once again, once we start testing it more.
I think
for now, I don't see it being
tier 3 because I know like I played against on ladder when like Rebel Clash first came out, or I think it was when Sword and Shield first came out. I'm not sure. Some of the like people playing like what's the thing called Flapple, Zacian Dolls, and then like throw down a Sableye. And it's like it does seem like the strategy is definitely better, like with Turbo Patch, and it's like it can do the sort of thing we were talking about with Persian, where it's just like okay, you just set up knockouts on VMAXs. And then of course,
makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I think there are like if you're gonna play a dark deck, you'll probably play one of the dark decks that we'll have coming up. So I don't know how good Sableye will be, but I do like its potential.
We'll segue that into Eternatus. So Eternatus probably like the biggest. I mean, it's the hype deck of the set, right? Probably the hype deck of the entire format.
Pretty much, I would say the biggest archetype that's coming out of Darkness Ablaze right now. So I'll probably put it. Probably put it in tier. I don't know. I'm pretty hype on Eternatus. I think it's really good. It has a pretty good. It should destroy Dragapult. I haven't tested it, but it should, in theory, destroy Dragapult. So I do expect it to be a tier S or tier 1 deck.
Yeah, I definitely think it destroys. Yeah, I'll put it in tier S because I think it's like. I feel like I get flamed if I put it anywhere else. It's like it's the biggest. It's just like the biggest thing right now. It's like so it's like an ADP Keldeo was the big deck, and then ADVization was the big deck. Just Eternatus is the big deck right now, and it's
kind of hard not to put it in tier S or tier 1 when you think about the potential it has. Just having like a built-in Sky as an ability is kind of ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, a Skyfield that only you get.
Doing your attack does 30 times for each Darkness Pokemon in play. Like that's really good.
Yeah, it's just
so just you have the card.
Yeah, we're in a format where there's like no counter to that. Like your opponent can't like stadium you out of it. They can't. There's no pseudo. There's like the only thing that people can do is like I assume some people playing Belelba and Bryson Man to like try to limit your bench, and of course like that's just an awkward card to try to like utilize.
Yeah, just looking at the card, I do expect it to be one of the top decks out there, so I definitely agree putting it in tier S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
hype on Eternatus.
Definitely, yeah. Good Dragon Ball matchup. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, definitely has an insane Dragapult map. We'll talk about Dragapult then. I don't know if I'm sort of like I have completely dropped Dragapult personally, but it like obviously it's it still has it's been able to compete with ADP and Peak Rom and Baby Blounds, and like Spirit Team, all these decks we have up here previously in this format. So it's like it can still compete with these decks for sure.
I think it's still a viable deck, but it will probably take a major hit because of Eternatus VMAX. So
And I
probably put it in tier 2 maybe.
Yeah, I almost want to. I don't. I want to put it in tier 3, but I also don't want to put it below Rhyperior, so I'm going to put it in tier 2.
I think it's still a good deck, but it's just Eternatus VMAX is kind of on the radar.
And it feels like it feels like it preys on like the little stuff too. It's like in Eternatus, it's going to get destroyed by ADP can get the Altered Creation off faster now, which is definitely relevant. Centiskorch is this big beefy deck. It's kind of awkward into Decidueye. Like it's kind of I feel like it's kind of awkward to try to play into item lock. So it's like it definitely takes a big hit where it's like right now it's probably it might be S tier.
Yeah, I mean, I played Dragapult in an invitational event and ended up getting second with it, so I do like the deck, but I do think it could be limited with the other decks that are out there that are coming out in Darkness Ablaze.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll do one more deck. I'm gonna pull up Mill. So I'm thinking as far as like there's so many Mill variants, right? I'm thinking the best one is probably that Dragonite Mill thing that did well in Japan in this exact format.
Yeah, I definitely think Mill will see a little bit of play because of Toxtricity. I don't know if you looked at that card yet, but it mills 5 cards from your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
So like when I saw that card, I immediately thought, oh, this could be put in pretty much any Mill deck. So I do think Mill might see a little more play. But I'm not sure how good it will be. It's just
have you seen that Dragonite list?
I have not, no.
So like it plays for Mareep and it's just like to put your opponent to sleep, right? And then the the Dragonite that like it searches your deck for the supporter once per turn.
Right, yes.
And so yeah, you Lance Prism turn to that, and it's like to me it's like it's the only one that could be viable because it's so not item reliant like all of the other ones are. It's like you have Mareep, so you can escape the Vikavolt, you can Lance Prism start your Dragonites, and they just like search out all your supporters. You play like 4 Misty's Favor, 4 Surge. You play like 4 of basically all of your supporters. It's like all the other ones I feel like not only get smashed by Vikavolt, but they also get smashed by Dragapult, which was the problem with them right now. And they still like are kind of sketch against ADP, so it's like I think I think probably tier 3, but I do think that like that Dragonite deck is definitely like the way to go if you're going to play it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a fair like tier for it to be in right now.
Okay, so you have put up results basically every single week. Like you just yesterday, right? It was you top forward with Obstagoon, and I think the day before that you put up a result too.
Yeah, I got second with Pika, my first time playing Pika. So
basically every week, if not multiple times a week, ever since online events started. And I feel like your name's like way more out there now. It's like you had like this top 4, this top 16. Like obviously, probably just like in general, even more impressive accomplishments. But it's like just because your name's just like always there now because you're just like killing it and you're playing so much, and so it's like you're just like doing consistently really well. Do you feel like there's something that you do differently than other people playing online events that's like allows you to be consistent, or are you just sort of like going into every tournament just like I just want to play some Pokemon, and it's just like you just like managed to do really well?
I would say that I think my name is definitely put out more out there ever since like we changed from real life tournaments to online tournaments. As for my online success, I just don't really do anything different, except I'm more relaxed now than I am in real life tournaments. Like I put in a lot of games on PCCGO, and I think the main thing is just like play decks you're comfortable with or decks that are good against the particular meta at the time. So, for example, I want to talk about my like altar creation because that's where I had my most online success so far, and I've been able to win 2 of them. So I played Bay Bounce for both, and they were really good metas at the time because for the first altar creation that I won, Mewbox and ADP Zation were the top decks at the time. And then for a second one, Combo Zation and Pico were destroying the meta at that time. So
Yeah.
just playing decks you're comfortable with and playing decks that are good against the metas just leads to online success sometimes. But overall, I just do it to have fun. It's more relaxing than your real life tournaments, in my opinion. I don't feel the pressure to perform well.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
if you don't feel that pressure, I think results will come.
I think there's something to be said too, just about like the online meta definitely like it changes and adapts very quickly, and I think that like you just like sort of pick up on it. You have to like when you're playing it every single week, you sort of pick up on it. I know I was doing really well in Altruism to Sword and Shield, and then I like stopped. I like took like a little break from like the side events while I was playing the Players Cup. I was just playing the Players Cup, um, and I just played the same deck the entire time. And then like a couple weeks later, I started trying to play tournaments again. I was just like, I had no idea what the format was, what was going on. I'm like, what changed? Like, so it's like, I think definitely like just like consistently playing in the online format and just like constantly being able to like know where the meta's at is like definitely helps to put up consistent results.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's better to like keep your line of play in online tournaments than it is in real life tournaments. Because for me personally, whenever I play in real life tournaments, like I'll play for a couple months, then I'll take a couple months off. And like with online tournaments, they're a lot easier to access because you don't have to drive to them, you don't have to fly to tournaments. So when I play in online tournaments, I like to sit back on my bed and eat snacks. So it's just a lot more relaxing. So that's why I really like playing online tournaments, and yeah, it's definitely helping me keep first play.
And now that I think about it too, it's when I take like a if I take a couple week break from testing and playing in real life, then I just go to all of my friends who are all testing and playing, and I'm like, okay, what are people like? What update me? What did I miss? Whereas
Right,
like
right.
now, it's like if you skip on a couple weeks of online events, a lot of your testing partners probably just aren't playing right now. So it's like I know like you're probably the only person on like are you the only person on Team Gas like who like is like consistently playing online events, right?
Yeah, most of my other teammates are pretty busy with their work and stuff. I'm fortunate enough to have some free time, so I'm usually the one playing most of these online events. So it's been nice.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we'll hop into this last. Like I think that we got 8 decks here. I'll start with Sandaconda. I think this is just like rogue tier.
Let's put that in the rogue deck.
Yeah,
I do
Sandaconda.
like Sandaconda as a
I
personally,
do.
but
Yeah,
it's not a good deck.
and the colossal deck is
I
cute,
think
but it's not good. Stage twos aren't good unless
it's
they're locking your opponent.
not.
Um. Okay, and then control. I've actually heard like I think a lot of people like expect control to basically be dead after
Yeah.
post rotation, at least for the start. Um, and of course, like control players get like really committed to control. So I think I've heard a lot of players saying that like they're planning on playing control for the event just as like a last hurrah. I don't know where it lands because it's like
Right. I don't know. The thing is, like every format, it seems like everyone's downing control, and then control ends up doing really well. I know, like for me personally, I doubted control like a few months ago, and then it ended up top four in one of the invitational qualifiers. So
yeah,
it's a weird deck, yeah, for
it
sure.
is.
But
It's
yeah,
one of those things where it's like if a control player has invented a new control archetype and I'm like, well, what about this problem matchup? And they tell me it beats it. I just have to believe them because like people when they start testing a control archetype, they put so many hours into it that you just like, yeah, you probably know you probably know what you're talking about with your deck. You probably tested enough games with it, and it's just like
yeah,
it's no one. I don't feel like any control deck. It's like it's hard for anyone to like pilot each individual control player's lists with the same skill that the player that played it is, because there's so many ways to use each of the cards in your deck.
Yeah, definitely. So I do think control. Well, depending on what people come up with, or some testing that can
The thing is,
control.
I feel like
feels
I feel like control in general is probably like tier 3, but I feel like the players that play control that bring it will know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, it's a tier 3. I would say it's like a tier 3 deck that has tier 1 and tier S potential. It played by the right person.
Yeah, because I think it's a tier 3 deck that will mostly be piloted by like S tier players or tier 1 players.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it.
Yeah, control is one of those decks. It punishes your opponents for not knowing how to play control, which is another big benefit of it.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. It definitely helps to play against control if you just play a couple games of it yourself.
Like if you run into control at a tournament and you never tested against control before, you're not gonna have a fun time. I'll say that from experience.
Yeah, the number of people that like when I'm playing control, I get just saying like what I've had multiple opponents just be like, what is your deck? Like what's happening right now? Like just like
I haven't said that, but I can understand their frustration. Like if you're playing against control for the first time ever in a tournament, it's a rough experience.
Yeah.
So you better start testing against the
even
if you don't expect that.
And if you do, and when people who test against control don't tend to like get that mad against control in game because they know what their game plan is and they like so it's more interactive when they know what they're aiming for. Like even like I know you've like played Baby Blounds, of course, for a while, and it could, like it on paper should get bodied by control. And so, but like you've beaten some control decks and you know your outs, you know what you're trying to play towards.
Yeah, definitely. Control is definitely one of the roughest decks I played against, but like I do like having the in the format. I think it provides a lot more variety, diversity. So I do love having control in the format, even if I personally don't love playing against it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those decks that like it offers the most potential for creativity.
Yeah. Sure.
So Toxtricity, people hyped it a little bit at first.
I don't see your cursor anymore.
Oh, you don't see
your
screen?
Yeah, the tier screen. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's back. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so Toxtricity. Yeah, people did hype it a little bit when it first came out, and then everyone realized Pikarom was probably the best deck in the format. So everyone's like, okay, why would I play Toxtricity?
I do love Toxtricity. I don't know if you guys saw it on my Twitter, but I posted Toxtricity Garbodor list, and I do love playing Toxtricity. It's a fun deck, and it does have some unique potential, but I'll probably put it in tier 3. Probably.
No, the thing is, it does gain a card. I built Toxtricity the other day because it gains Galarian Slowbro.
Oh, I haven't looked at the card yet.
So Galarian Slowbro's ability just poisons the opponent's active Pokemon if Slowbro is active.
Oh,
so you don't have to play Garbodor anymore.
That could be really good. Yeah, that could be really good. Yeah.
So it definitely has a boost. It definitely is better than it was. Because it just has that like.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so you build it a little differently. You're playing air balloon, you're probably playing multiple air balloons, but now you don't have to play Garbodor.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I think that can definitely boost Toxtricity's like potential then.
And there's more VMAXs, so like being able to do so much damage is like more relevant now. So I'd probably put it in tier 2 up with right up there with Dragapult and Centiskorch and Spiritomb.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think people aren't talking enough about it because until I looked at Galarian Slowbro, I hadn't thought of it at all because no one's talking about the fact that Toxtricity got this it's a pretty big bump. Just not have to play a stage.
Yeah, I
play double stage 1 deck.
Yeah, and you don't need a stadium to be able to poison your opponent. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. I'll definitely start testing it out now that I know Slowbro's a card.
There you go. And while we're talking about that, we'll go right into Boltund, another lightning deck that's pretty like Turbo Boltund. It's like very niche right now, but it does gain Turbo Patch. So it's definitely like relevant. I think the problem is that like
I would say,
go ahead.
I think I would probably put in tier 2. Like, sure, like you can build turbo versions of Bolton, but it's most likely not going to be as fast as some of the other decks that are out there. So I'll probably put it in tier 2 for now.
Yeah, I think it's like
Here's the
I think it's still the same where it's like at its peak, it is hitting the numbers that Picrom is hitting. And on paper when it is doing that, it's better than Picrom because it's a 2-prizer. But it doesn't do it as often as Picrom does.
Yeah, and it's not as fast in the opening turns as Pikarom is. So.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like the list, the Turbo Bolton list that I have played the most of, because I have fun with the deck. So I've played a little bit more. Yeah. Is the one with Crushing Hammers. That's the one that I've had the most success with. So it's definitely it does struggle to keep up with things like Pikarom and even like Turbozation and stuff like that. Which we'll do that one next. So there's Turbozation, Combozation. I don't know. The combo package seems a lot weaker right now, to me.
Yeah, it's not as good as like when it first originated. But I would say Combozation might see a lot more play because of Turbo Patch. I think Turbo Patch makes a huge difference in the Zacian decks. So I would probably put like any Zacian archetypes in tier 1, honestly, just because of that one card.
Now, do you think there's an argument to just like, because I feel like the combo package is like all because it's like a 10-card package, right? Like with the scoop up nets and the like 2 Guru, 2 Mine, the draw 2 Prism.
Right.
I feel like the entire package is dead if you hit Vikavolt. It's like 9 dead cards in your deck, right?
It would definitely be a difficult like thing to handle, but
yeah,
I do think against everything else, like just with the addition of Turbo Patch, I do think Zacian decks in general.
Yeah, I think there's maybe an argument to just like not play the combo package anymore, and just be like, I am just Zacian. I'm just gonna hit you for 230 really quickly, and that's the whole thing.
That's actually what I've been testing. I just cut the combo package for like more text or more like consistency cards, and just been playing straight Zacian. Yeah, and it's been working pretty well. Like Zacian's just a fast card in general, so you can outspeed your opponent, and you don't really need the package in some cases.
Yeah, especially because like it one shots like Vikavolt, and then it one shots all of the like evolving Vs. So it's like Eternatus V. When they drop it, they throw an energy on it before they can like on turn 1 before they evolve it, and then you just kill it, and it's like you set your opponent pretty far behind just by like if you can pull something like that.
If you go first and then you Intrepid Sword to a couple energy, then you can probably be able to boss up any of the basics before they become VMAXs.
Yeah, and you buy yourself a whole other turn, which is like huge in this format.
Yeah, especially with Turbo Patch, like providing even more energy acceleration to make that happen. I think it's gotta be I think Zacian decks are gonna be pretty strong in this format.
Yeah, I agree. And so building off of that, well, I think Lucario Melmetal Zacian deserves to just be right up there with them, because I feel like you can play it like basically the same as Turbozation, but you just like have that attacker in there. Like sometimes you might play Crushing Hammers, but sometimes you just don't, and you just like it's just the fact that you have Lucario Melmetal and you just have that option.
Yeah, I think Luke Metal is definitely one of the it could potentially be one of the best decks out there. I don't know if you looked at Scizor VMAX, but for Metal and colorless, it does 90, and then it takes 30 less. So its attack takes 30 less, and then you full Metal Wall, so your Metal Pokemon take 30 less, and then you have Metal Frying Pan, your Pokemon take even more,
take 90
less damage. So that's a total of 90 less damage. So that's something I want to be able to play around with when the set comes out. Like maybe like a 1/1 line of Scizor VMAX in with Luke Metalization.
Yeah, like as a tech. I really don't think it's good. Because I've seen some people like trying as its own deck, and I really don't think it's good as its own deck. I don't think you do that, but I could see it being good in like a Zacian deck.
Yeah, I don't think you can play it by itself, but like I definitely can see it played in Luke Metalization. But even if not, I can.
I mean, you throw something like that up against some decks, and it's just like what is like against a Spiritomb, you throw that up, and it's like they're gonna like you're gonna take at least like 4 prizes with that.
It's like, what can you do when like your Pokemon takes 90 less damage while still attacking you for DC?
Yeah, imagine throwing and is Scizor. I don't know if it's weak. I know resistance is mostly changed to grass, so it's probably not. But like, but any Dragapult, it's like Dragapult's only doing 130 to the active, so that's pretty huge.
Yeah, I think just Scizor VMAX combined with Metal Frying Pan combined with Full Metal Wall GX could be a deadly combo.
Yeah.
If people were able to make it happen.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's definitely one of the most exciting cards that I've been looking at and looking forward to testing.
So this deck is actually like making a bit of a comeback in this current format right now. But like Ultimate Mewtwo, I think is probably just like I don't think it works anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how good it is. Like Dragapult's
like,
still gonna be in.
I feel like even when it came out, my only thing is that like I feel like when it came out, it didn't work. Right? It's like that's the whole point. It's just like you have to play the specific cards to beat every single deck. I don't know if there is a card that allows it to beat Eternatus or Vikavolt, because Eternatus can just like kill it so fast.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have Marshadow and Machamp to deal with Eternatus because of the fighting weakness.
Yeah,
but I don't know if there's much that Mew can do about that. Like everything's just so fast, and you're attaching basically 1 energy per turn after you Soul Burst GX. So I don't know if it's able to keep up with everything, like all these other decks in the tier list.
Yeah, it's like I feel like a deck like Eternatus, like sometimes it's just gonna against Mewtwo, it's like you're gonna go for the Soul Burst, and then like once in a while you're gonna be playing against Eternatus, and they're just gonna like be like, okay, use Soul Burst, and I'm gonna hit you for 270 and be 3 prizes ahead.
And just knock you out. So
yeah, I almost think maybe tier 3, but I think
it doesn't look like the format from Excel or Excelin.
Yeah, I think I'd almost just put it in Rogue.
Let's put it in Rogue. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna move Salamence down to Rogue while I'm at it. I don't like looking at it in there. Then the last one is Vikavolt. So Vikavolt, for me, Vikavolt is the big deck. I know it's like the big deck is Eternatus, but to me, Vikavolt is the big deck.
Yeah, I would say Eternatus and Vikavolt are sharing the space for like the most hyped deck in Darkness of Light. I'll just put it in tier S for now.
I think that's fair.
Like just look at the card, just having like an item lock card in the format again, it's kind of ridiculous. Like sure, Cray has an item lock, but it only does 10. This does 50. Yeah, and you have,
and it can do,
and you have Electro Power too.
Electro Power is insane.
Yeah, it's looking at the card, it seems kind of ridiculous.
It's just like juiced up Toad. It's like it's better than Seismitoad EX as like as an individual card.
It has some extra HP alongside with it, so
and its second attack is actually usable, unlike Seismitoad.
Yeah, I think it was like 190 for 3 or something.
Yeah, and you have Electro Power. You can like be one-shotting these.
Yeah, so you have a potential to one-shot and you're item locking. That's just insane.
Yeah, it is. It's watch out. Seismitoad was like, okay, well, I'll play 3 water energy in case my opponent has special energy disruption. And then, like, maybe I can attach 3 times to this Pokemon to attack with it. Vikavolt's just like, okay, well, whenever you want, you can attach 1 energy to me and do 190.
Yeah, and you have Thunder Mountain too, so you could potentially item lock for 1 energy, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, so I've seen, I think, like, the popular one that's going around is, just, like, playing it, like, quick, just, like, without, like, I've seen a lot of lists without the disruption cards, and just sort of, like, trying to get, get everything set up really fast. I have been testing Green's Vikavolt, and hear me out, it's broken, okay? So, you go second, and if you have a Greens, or just, like, some other pieces, all you need is, if you have a Greens, you just attach energy, Greens for Thunder Mountain, and Wait and See Hammer, and you've item locked and your opponent has 0 energy on board.
Yeah, that sounds pretty insane.
Yeah, then you play a couple of Yell Grunt and Crushing Hammers, and you're just, like, keeping energy on the board for a while.
Yeah, I've definitely been thinking about testing Vikavolt V with, like, Power Plants and, like, Crushing Hammers, just energy denial in general.
Yeah.
I don't know, for me, just, like, thinking back to Toad in the day, Toad was always, I would say Toad was always the best when it was paired with ability lock and energy disruption. So that's why I want to try out with Evo V now.
for sure. And I just think that like honestly, Wait and See Hammer in and of itself to me is enough reason to play greens. Like that's like so like being able to say to Eternatus, when I item lock you, you have 0 energy on board. It's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like guaranteedly they will have 0 energy on board as long as you hit the like that card.
Yeah, it does sound pretty insane, and I'm excited to start testing that out for sure.
Yeah, okay, so I have one more question for you now that we have our culminative tier list up here. So if you had to choose on the spot right now, I don't like. It seems like you probably haven't like. It seems like you haven't started testing like overly yet.
Not quite yet. No, gotta get the cards first.
Yeah, like the same as same for me. And so it's like if you had to choose on the spot right now, what would you play for day 1 of the POG Championships?
Let's see. If I had to pick right now, I mean, it'd be hard not to play Baby Blondes because that's brought me the most success in the online tournaments this far, or ADPization. That also brought me some decent success. And I'm usually well known for playing Baby Blondes, so like people are usually shocked when not playing Baby Blondes. Like for the JGB, I played Dragapult, and like most of my opponents that I played were like, "What? You're not playing Baby Blondes?" So
I think even on the stream they were like, "What do you think?" So we have Baby Blondes over there, and they're like, "No, that's not Baby Blondes. That's not what deck that's over there."
Yeah, I think like my top 4 in my final opponent, like Emery Taylor and Azul GG were like, "Oh my god, he's not playing Baby Blondes." So they were like scam, but I do think I would have to play Baby Blondes just because I don't know, it's kind of hard not to. It brought me this success thus far, so it would be hard not to bring it to the POG Championship for a good run.
Yeah, and actually, I honestly think like I feel like I agree with Baby Blondes as a day 1 play, even if like without any like bias. Like I barely played any Baby Blondes, and I feel like I agree that like I feel like Baby Blondes actually is the day 1 play because I feel like you're not gonna hit like if you just looking at this tier list, I feel like you're not gonna hit 4 bad matchups in day 1, and you only need to win 7. You can afford to lose 3 games and make day 2. Your record resets, so if you just hit 3 in combination of your bad matchups, no more, I think you'll beat all your good matchups.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, Baby Blondes has been known to, brick occasionally from time to time, so that could be another, like, obstacle to playing it. So that's why I might lean towards ADPization. Like, again, Turbo Patch is just a huge reason to play Zation decks in general. So, like, that's why I'm slightly leaning towards ADPization, but I think
Zation decks are just, like, inherently consistent.
From a personal standpoint, I would love to play Baby Blondes in the biggest tournament I would say there is.
Yeah, that like it's sort of like a culmination of like what you've been playing this season so far.
Yeah, and again, like people know me for playing Baby Blondes, so it's kind of hard to disappoint them if I don't bring it to the POG Championships.
Yeah, people will be surprised.
It's like, no, not again.
It's once again not what I thought it was. Did you played against Emery Taylor in top 4, right?
I did, yeah. I played Dragapult against his ultimate
surprise for him.
Yeah. I actually ended up losing to Azul playing Baby Blondes, so that was a sweet irony there.
Yeah.
Like I was playing Dragapult, for the first. Yeah, they're actually your Dragapults, by the way. You probably already know.
Yeah, that, I was saying on Azul's stream, I said if he beats you with my Dragapults, I beat you. That's how it works.
But yeah, and Azul was playing Baby Blondes, and like it was my first time playing Dragapult, so it was kind of sweet irony that I lost to Azul playing Baby Blondes just because I'm the biggest Baby Blonde supporter there is. Yeah, one of the biggest.
With Dragapult. Oh yeah, that is. Yeah. Just you decide not to play Baby Blondes, and it comes back and it takes its revenge for you ditching it.
Yeah, like you should play Baby Blondes.
Yeah, should play Baby.
I think Dragapult is a good friend, but
yeah, I think Baby Blondes, Peak Rom, and Dragapults are the like ADPization is definitely still there, but I feel like those 3 are a tier above. I think
Yes,
AB can
definitely.
like keep up with all three of them, and that's why it's or less so Baby Browns, but it can technically keep up with everything, and that's why it's still like people are still playing it a lot. But I feel like those three are like you should be playing one of those three if you are trying to win an event.
Yes, definitely. Like if you don't know what to play, then I would just say stick to your comfort picks and choose one of those three decks for sure.
Yeah, like those are the top three decks right now for sure, and I think uh yeah, and I think ADBization and Baby Browns remain just good. Like just they will be good for sure for like in some capacity.